African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of August 20th, 2025. Units of the North Troop Group have improved their tactical position. Damage inflicted on personnel and equipment of mechanized, airborne assault, and Ranger Brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Territorial Defense Brigade, and Border Guard Detachment of the Ukrainian Border Service in the areas of the settlements of Gavrilovo, Zhovniv, Rudnevka, Sadki, and Staraya Guda in the Sumy region. On the Kharkiv direction, damage was inflicted on units of mechanized and assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and the Territorial Defense Brigade in the areas of the settlements of Molovo, Sinelnikovo, and Yudi in the Kharkiv region. The Armed Forces of Ukraine lost up to 155 servicemen, 1 tank, 5 armored combat vehicles, 18 cars, and 4 artillery guns. Ammunition and material supply depots were destroyed. Units of the West Troop Group occupied more advantageous lines and positions. Damage was inflicted on formations of 2 mechanized and assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Territorial Defense Brigade, and National Guard Brigade in the areas of the settlements of Doroshavka, Novosergivka, Olgavka, and Senkovo in the Kharkiv region. Losses of the Armed Forces of Ukraine amounted to up to 245 servicemen, a German-made Leopard tank, 3 Western-made armored combat vehicles, 18 cars, and 2 artillery guns. 6 electronic warfare stations and 6 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the South Troop Group improved their position along the front line, inflicting damage on personnel and equipment of 3 mechanized, airmobile brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a Territorial Defense Brigade in the areas of the settlements of Vasyokavka, Dranovka, Minkovka, Nelipovka, Fedorovka, and Chervono in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost up to 210 servicemen, 1 armored combat vehicle, 6 cars, 2 artillery guns, and an electronic warfare station. A material supply depot was destroyed. Units of the East Troop Group liberated the settlement of Novogeorgievka in the Dnipropetrovsk region as a result of offensive actions. Damage inflicted on personnel and equipment of 2 mechanized, mountain assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and 2 Territorial Defense Brigades in the areas of the settlements Dorozhnyanka, Zeleny High, Poltavka in the Zaporizhia region, Voron in the Dnipropetrovsk region, and Alexandrovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost over 220 servicemen, 2 tanks, 10 vehicles, a Western-made multiple launch rocket system, a field artillery gun, and 2 electronic warfare stations. Units of the Dnieper Troop Group inflicted damage on formations of 2 coastal defense brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and 3 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements Belohori, Primorsk in the Zaporizhia region, Otradokomenka, and Sadov in the Kherson region. Enemy losses amounted to up to 65 servicemen, an armored combat vehicle, 13 vehicles, 4 artillery guns, and 8 electronic warfare stations. Ammunition depot and 3 supply depots were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the Russian Armed Forces troop groups inflicted damage on mooring facilities used for fuel supplies in the interests of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a drone assembly workshop, temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 148 areas. Air defense means shot down HIMARS multiple launch rocket system projectile of U.S. production and 217 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles. In the northwestern part of the Black Sea, 2 small high-speed enemy boats were destroyed by the forces of the Black Sea Fleet. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, destroyed 665 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 78,434 unmanned aerial vehicles, 625 surface-to-air missile systems, 24,677 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,588 combat vehicles of multiple launch rocket systems, 28,737 field artillery guns and mortars, 40,014 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.